Well, kazi ianze, kazi iendelee. Message by President William Ruto to 24 cabinet secretaries who took oath of office today, signaling the beginning of the delivery of the Kenya Kwanza administration's promises to the electorate during the August 9th polls. Being the 27th of October 2022, you're tuned to KBC Channel 1. This is Business Insight, and I am Regina Manyara. Now, before we get to the nitty-gritty details, just want to tell you that our sign language interpreter this evening is going to be none other than Anne Wangeshi. Before that, let's have a sneak peek of what we have detailed for you this evening. Roll up your sleeves. President William Ruto tells the newly appointed cabinet secretaries to hit the ground running. Kenya exits government, sees civil servant Joseph Kenya, hands over baton to Felix Koskei. And the future is here. Safaricom rolls out 5G services in Nairobi. Good evening, this is Prime Edition and I am Regina Manyara. Anne Wangeshi is our sign language interpreter this evening, being the 27th of October 2022. Now, President William Ruto has pledged his support to cabinet secretaries in working towards transforming the country. The president has, however, warned the cabinet secretaries against running the ministries on whims, saying the constitution and the rule of law should be the guiding principle. Speaking during the swearing-in ceremony of the 24 cabinet secretaries who took oath of office Thursday, the head of state challenged the CSS to focus on delivering to all Kenyans in equal measure and avoid regional and community affiliations.
Aisha Jumwa Karisa Katana, being appointed a cabinet secretary of Kenya.
I, Aden Baredwale,
do swear that I will at all times be faithful to the Republic of Kenya.
President William Ruto has defended his choice for cabinet, saying they do not represent communities but the country as a whole.
You have been appointed and you have sworn that you have been appointed to the cabinet of Kenya. I know there are regional persuasions. There are community persuasions. I haven't appointed any cabinet for any region or for any county or for any community. I have appointed a cabinet of Kenya.
The head of state, in raising the bar for the newly appointed cabinet secretaries, said services must be rendered diligently and without favorism.
I didn't hear any one of you swear to serve their friends or their families or their regions or their religions. Each one of us here has sworn to serve the people of Kenya. That is the minimum expected of all of us.
President Ruto said his team will work towards fulfilling the Kenya Kwanza promise, urging the appointees to hit the ground running.
You have no option other than to succeed. Failure is not an option, good people. We have a country to look after. We have a plan to implement. And we have the people of Kenya watching us. So you will have my unqualified support so that you can succeed, because in your success is the success of our administration and the success of our country.
Being appointed a cabinet secretary of Kenya, do swear
that I will be a true and faithful counselor to the president,
to the best of my ability, so help me God.
The swearing-in of President Ruto's first cabinet comes just hours after the approval by Parliament and subsequent gazettement. Former National Assembly Speaker Justin Muturi has replaced Kiara Kariuki at the State Law Office, while Felix Koskei has succeeded Joseph Kenya as the head of Public Service. The oath of office sets the ball rolling for President William Ruto and his cabinet, even as Parliament prepares to vet accounting officers. Ben Chumba, Prime Edition.
And tomorrow, KBC Channel 1 News Desk is ready to just bring you the live coverage of takeover from, or rather handover of office from one administrator to the other. And we're going to be keeping tabs on that too. And talking about taking up different offices, different duties, so to speak, is that President William Ruto has commended former State House Chief of Staff and Head of Public Service, Joseph Kiambu, for his diligent service and leadership in government. Speaking after the swearing in of Cabinet Secretaries at State House on Friday, President Ruto hailed Kiambu for overseeing a seamless transition of administrators.
For more than 3 decades, the name Joseph Kiambu has been synonymous with the Kenya Public Service. The seasoned civil servant has exited government, passing the baton to his successor, Felix Kosgei.
Your Excellency, sir, with this secularized act, I hand over the mantle of coordinating the public service to a new generation of civil servants. I thank you and your predecessors for according me the privilege to serve in 4 successful administrations, notably the 2nd, 3rd, 4th administration and in your position. It has been a profound honor and a humbling journey.
At hand to celebrate the stellar career was President William Ruto, who heaped praise on the former head of public service for his efforts in ensuring a smooth transition from former President Uhuru Kenyatta's government to the current administration. Kiambu was among a team of talented Kenyans who were brought into government by the late retired President Daniel Arap Moi to engineer a desirable economic path for the country. Joseph Kiambu would work his way up the ranks to cement his position as one of the most relied upon civil servants in Kenya. While in government, Kiambu served under different capacities such as Permanent Secretary, State House Chief of Staff, and the Head of Public Service. For Prime Edition, I'm Zainab Said.
Now, the Salaries and Remuneration Commission is on the spot for reviewing downwards the remuneration of state officers while reviewing upwards its members' allowances. Senators questioned the jurisdiction of the commission in first reviewing its own remuneration, terming it as abuse of best practice, and warned the chairperson, Lynn Mengich, sanctioned for violation of the Constitution.
The move to review state officers' allowances by the Salaries and Remuneration Commission has come to haunt the Commission's leadership as lawmakers threaten to remove Chairperson Lynn Mengich from office. Mombasa Senator Mohamed Faki, through a statement, asked the Committee on Delegated Legislation to look into the review, which majority of the senators view as an affront to the Constitution.
Ascertain whether appropriate consultations with the relevant stakeholders was undertaken, noting that the transparency and fairness principle stated in the Constitution under Article number 235D is applicable to these instances.
This Constitution, Article 75, says, Mr. Speaker, that a state officer shall behave, whether in public and official life, in private life, or in association with other persons, in a manner that avoids any conflict between personal interest and public or official duties. So when she increases her own things, how then does it fit with this law, which refuses exactly that?
Supporting the motion, the senators questioned the rationale behind slashing state officers' remuneration while increasing the commissioners' perks.
Mr. Speaker, to clarify to us that this chair, whether she is fit to hold that public office, when she is adding herself and then hiding all this by trying to make people believe that it is the MPs who are bad. Mr. Speaker,
SRC seem to have an attitude towards state officers and particularly politicians in this country, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, we want to tell SRC that we perform a constitutional duty.
I think the committee must come out strongly the delegated committee, and I propose, Mr. Speaker, let delegated and finance and budget committee come together and give us a recommendation to remove the SRC chair for gross violation of the Constitution, Mr. Speaker, and disbanding the SRC.
The matter is set to also feature in the National Assembly after its dispensation at the Senate. Gisho Kwashira, Prime Edition.
Now, the Senate and the National Assembly will jointly vet the nominee for the position of Inspector General of Police next week. The National Assembly on Thursday approved members of various House departmental committees, with the Speaker directing that the Administration and Internal Affairs Committee hasten election of its leadership to pave way for the joint scrutiny on the suitability of Engineer Japhet Koome, who has been nominated by the President to serve as the Inspector General of Police.
A total of 41 House departmental committees were Thursday established and approved at the National Assembly.
All the departmental committees have an average of 15 members. The majority party or the majority coalition having 8 members and 7 going to the minority party.
One being the Administration and Internal Affairs Committee that already has its first job cut out, that of vetting Engineer Japhet Koome, who has been nominated by the President to serve as the next Inspector General of Police. The vetting will be done jointly by the National Assembly and Senate committees.
I want to direct that the committee responsible for security, the committee that will be vetting the Inspector General, be facilitated as early as tomorrow morning to sit and elect their chair and vice chair so that they can get into business with the committee of the Senate to vet the nominee for Inspector General next week.
The establishment of the committees also sets the stage for vetting of principal secretaries yet to be named by the President.
We do expect that, in line with the pronouncement by His Excellency the President on the supplementary budget, that the National Treasury is in the course of preparing a supplementary budget, and we expect to quickly constitute the Budget and Appropriations Committee to be able to consider any supplementary budget that may be sent our way.
At the same time, the National Assembly Thursday approved a motion seeking the recognition and remuneration of village elders.
Because they are, first and foremost, the village courts. They are the arbiters who decide on cases, both civil and criminal.
Serikali hii imesema muundo msingi wake ni kuanzia chini kwenda juu. Tunaomba serikali hii iweze kuwatambua wazee wa mitaa na waweze kuangaliwa ni kiwango gani wanaweza kulipwa.
Ninaunga mkono wazee wa mitaa watambuliwe na walipwe pesa. Na sio hiyo peke yake, Bwana Spika, hata kuelimishwa kwa mambo ya uongozi.
They give guidance on how to run our farms, plan our farms. They give guidance on health. They give guidance on security, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, it's long overdue. It's long overdue that these people will have been considered.
Kamche Menza for Prime Edition.
Japhet Koome there, the nominee for position of Inspector General, will have his day on the hot seat come next week. Now, President William Ruto has called on the Kenya Kwanza allied members of Parliament to prove their worth and deliver on their legislative agenda. The head of state said it is time for the legislators to make real their election pledges. Kenya Kwanza Parliamentary Group meeting at State House, Nairobi. President reiterated housing, universal healthcare, manufacturing and the Hustlers funds were top on his priority list. Now we take a fast breather just to remind you that we also welcome your feedback. You can get it on our various social media platforms, including Twitter at KBC Channel 1. For now, we take a quick breather. We'll be right back.
Kupata skiza tune ya mambo mema, dial star 811 star 815 hash.
Mambo mema huwaendea watu wanaosubiri, ila mambo mema zaidi huwaendea watu wanaoyatafuta. Kupata mambo mema ni kufanikiwa, na kufanikiwa ni kutabasamu, kutafakari na kuhesabu mema na baraka ulizozichukulia hatua, ukazitafuta na kuzipata. Amka, tafuta ufanisi wako.
Kupata skiza tune ya mambo mema, dial star 811 star 815 hash. Star 811 star 815 hash.
Zote mse.
Bana jo. Zote.
Na mbona wanaongea vitu za uongo ati mimi niliiba? Wewe, kuna pesa yako yoyote imepotea hata wewe uko na pesa kweli?
Hapana mama, hakuna pesa yangu imepotea na mimi niko na pesa.
Na mbona unakuja kusema ati pesa ilipotea, sijui mwizi yako kwa nyumba? Mimi nakuanga kwako.
Before ujibu. Mimi sina rauo, sina simu. Napatikanaje kwa mchwete nikitoa maafiri?
Sasa wewe
nitajibu
sana. Maswali atajibu gani ya wache gani?
Interpret for me. Naweza kuwa nasema ujinga. Unaniita mjinga mimi?
Anauliza ikiwa amesema yeye hapatikani kwa hiyo M-Pesa. Anaweza kuwa anasema yeye anasema ujinga.
Na ananiambia mimi niko na ujinga.
Hakusema wewe.
Ananikichapia imbu wenye aje. Kwanza mimi si mimi. Unacheki? Si radi umdenge. Naweza kuwa nasema uanganga.
Mimi si mimi ni wewe, si ndio? Kurada ni kujua. Ujui msijana? Wewe anajua yeye, nyinyi ni friends.
Umejuaje?
At KBC Channel 1, we put people at the heart of events with our captivating weekly news features. Every day, we are breaking new grounds with informative, entertaining, and inspiring human interest stories. On Mondays, 9 p.m., we have The Cabinets. Tuesday, 9 p.m., we get inside the barracks for military tales. We delve in the world of cinemas and theater each Wednesday night. For the young and industrious, make a date with us every Thursday at 9 p.m. Fridays are dedicated for my culture. On Saturdays, we go back in time for history in perspective. And on Sundays, we get to know the process of how things are done and made. KBC Channel 1 News features a whole lot of wonderful viewing experience.
Now, this is still a prime edition. Now we speak matters of security, where police in Kiambu County have arrested 10 people after a week-long crackdown on illicit brew and narcotic sellers. Area Police Commander Paminas Kyoko issued a stern warning to those involved in illegal business that the law will catch up with them and prosecute them in the courts of justice. Kyoko at the same time lauded members of the public for volunteering information that led to the arrest of the culprits.
A 7-day security operation in Kiambu County successfully nabbed 172 rolls of bang, 1,940 grams of refined cannabis, raised sweets and tablets recovered from the Githiga area of Githunguri sub-county. Area Police Commander Paminas Kyoko says such operations will continue, calling on members of the public to continue sharing information that will aid in flushing out drug cartels and criminals in the county.
We have a WhatsApp group known as Kiambu Mulika Alert Kiambu. Mulika Alert Kiambu. If they send any message there, we act on it very quickly. We are ready to ensure that Kiambu County is very clean, and we do not want this menace to continue anywhere.
Security officers abetting the crime have also been warned that their days are numbered.
We report them to us and we take action against them very quickly. We have many youth who are crying there. They want to enjoy the services.
Parents have further been cautioned to closely monitor what their children are consuming to prevent them from falling into the trap of drug use and addiction. Yusufar reporting for Prime Edition.
Now we speak matters business, where Trade and Investment Cabinet Secretary Moses Courier has pledged to grow exports and increase the sector's contribution to GDP to 20% within the next 8 years. Speaking after taking over from outgoing Trade Cabinet Secretary Betty Maina, Courier said he will also focus on increasing value addition on tea, coffee and other products, as well as work with EAC member states to boost trade.
A few hours after taking the oath of office, Cabinet Secretary for Trade and Investment Moses Courier said the main agenda will be to grow exports and reduce the country's over-reliance on imports.
We hope that one day we don't import because we want to import. We import because we have no choice. But as we import, we grow our capacity for exports. And if you want not to be to cross my line, just play with the export. I am very serious on this issue of export.
In June, Kenya's total imports stood at 230 billion shillings, while total exports reached 82.4 billion shillings, registering a 40.9% year-on-year increase. Kenya's trade deficit hit a record 666 billion shillings in the first 5 months of 2022. Courier said he will be engaging other trade ministers in Africa to deepen regional integration, eliminate non-tariff barriers, as well as leverage on the East African Community and the African Continental Free Trade Agreement to boost intra-Africa trade, which currently stands at 18%.
If there is one country that stands to gain from regional integration from ACFTA, it is Kenya, and we are going to see a lot of progress in that direction.
He plans to grow the contribution of the manufacturing sector from the current 7.2% to 20% in 8 years, riding on increased value addition of agricultural produce and working with counties to establish more manufacturing hubs in the devolved units.
I'm appealing to young people, please manufacture. Please value add, do processing. We have to make our exports and our manufacturing to be competitive. We cannot continue to not be competitive and then you start blaming Uganda.
Courier has pledged to introduce a framework to enhance pre-shipment inspections and other measures that will grow exports.
To add a window also for post-shipment inspection, so that if you choose to have your goods inspected out there in China and other countries, that can happen. But also if you want to do it here, we do it here. And I've had discussion with my brother, the MD of Kenya Bureau of Standards, to see how we can be able to lower the cost of inspection. So that's the good news. The bad news is that we are going to have a levy on our imports to grow our exports.
Wairi Mujenga for Prime Edition.
From 7% to 20% contribution to GDP, that is a target that Moses Courier, the Trade Cabinet Secretary, has in the next 8 years, which is exactly 5% above what the Kenya Association of Manufacturers have been working at attaining in as far as its contribution to the GDP. His work is clearly cut out for him. Now, engineering students are being encouraged to link up with professional bodies for mentorship to learn the ropes of the trade at an early stage of their career. The best way to achieve this, according to the Association of Consulting Engineers of Kenya, is by joining engineering societies at various institutions of higher learning.
Cases of buildings under construction collapsing in the country have been widely reported in the past. Most of such cases have been partly attributed to poor linkage among the various professionals involved.
The actual work happens on the ground. So when it happens on the ground, first of all, you have to ensure the contractor has acquired correct materials to be able to execute that job, isn't it? Now, in the process of getting the materials, there also a quality control process. In case this quality control process are an issue, then you will end up with what we call substandard materials, which can cause failure.
The National Construction Authority says developers should onboard contractors and consulting engineers for quality construction works.
So the contractor is onboarded by the project owner, the engineer and the architect by the project owner. So they have one pair, or you may call it, the owner of the contract, who is the project owner or the client, is the one who ensures that he has all these team members on board.
One of the solutions that we propose to ensure that we have quality engineering services in our infrastructural development is to ensure that all graduate engineers are transitioned to professional engineer. And currently the board has an elaborate plan to ensure that in the next 5 years we register at least 10,000 engineers who will be able to undertake the infrastructural activities that are within the country.
On the same breath, engineering students at various tertiary institutions have been asked to register with engineering societies in their respective institutions for mentorship and guidance.
What would be critical is to join those engineering societies first at the student level. It becomes very easy for them to transition as graduate engineers, and of course after they got into the graduate engineer level, they can be able to now join ASEC FL, that's the ASEC Future Leaders, which can be able now to give them a structured way to be able to transit through all the stages.
This, according to the Association of Consulting Engineers of Kenya, will link young engineers with the association's Future Leaders program for progressive growth.
So this acts in two ways. You basically have a person, of course, undertaking specific duties that they've been given, and they are also paired with mentors. So the mentor-mentee relationship is established, and these are the people who will be able to sign the documents for this junior engineer as they're undertaking their jobs, and of course eventually sign out their report.
For Prime Edition from Kisumu County, I am Wycliffe Okech.
Back in Nairobi, now women occupy less than 5% of leadership positions in the financial sector, a stark contrast of the 30% target set for 2040. Central Bank Governor Dr. Patrick Njoroge says despite the gap in the financial access between the genders reducing from 5.2% to 4.2% in the last year, only 3 commercial bank boards in Kenya are chaired by women.
Of the 39 commercial banks in Kenya, the number of women in decision-making roles are a mere 8%, with offices occupied by the marginalized gender only narrowing as they progress upwards. Central Bank Governor says the Apex Bank is keen on pushing more women in leadership roles, noting that affirmative action and policy shifts will drive this.
It is essential to create an enabling environment that recognizes the strengths of diverse team members and provides equity of opportunities for both men and women.
He notes that despite women in the financial sector in Kenya surpassing global female leadership positions, the number is still dismal. He says banks can take the initiative of increasing the percentage reserved for women in their loan portfolio to enhance financial inclusion.
Can transition from the entry level to the top echelons of management. Too often the pyramid of women in the workplace narrows quickly as you get to the top.
We want to see equal pay, equality at various levels. We want to see this cutting across at all positions.
The rallying call was that financial institutions should target women at the onset of their careers and work towards bridging the informational gap within the sector.
Various roles that really are in finance, they're not taught to you in uni. And so we've realized that we have to bridge that information gap so that right as women are graduating from campus, they are aware of the different future pathways that are available to them.
Hibak Said for Prime Edition.
Now, this is a good time to visit the Maasai Mara National Reserve to experience a return journey of the wild-beast migration back to the Serengeti National Park in Tanzania. It is the right time for birding too, as at least 400 migratory bird species begin to arrive at the Mara. So tonight on Magical Scenes, Irene Mchuma Odim takes you to the Maasai Mara, Narok County.
This is the season characterized by short rains. The vegetation in the Mara is green. Though the end of the wildebeest migration is not among the most anticipated events of the Mara, this is the ideal time for anyone who wants his or her own space. The Mara is less crowded by visitors during this time of the year. This may make one underestimate how rewarding a safari in the Mara would be during the short rains, but lightning and thunderstorms in the afternoons often present such spectacular photographic opportunities. The migratory birds arrive in droves as resident wildlife provides ample game viewing opportunities. Nevertheless, the start of the short rains sends hundreds of thousands of wildebeest and zebras southwards to the Serengeti National Park in Tanzania in search of pasture. The crossing of River Mara may not be so dramatic with attacks from predators because they are using a different route from the one they used back in July while coming to the Mara in Kenya for pasture and procreation. In addition, the water levels at most crossing points along River Mara are low, making it easier for the wildebeest and zebras to navigate with ease. This season, take time off your busy schedule to visit the Maasai Mara National Reserve to experience this and much more.
It has been such an incredible experience us coming today. Something I will never, ever, ever forget in my life. This is our honeymoon, and we're super excited to be here.
Everyone here is extremely nice. I feel as safe as possible, and I can't wait to come back.
Irene Mchuma Udim, Magical Sense in the county of Narok.
I need to lend the lantern to somebody else. Now they need it.
Then you should hurry and go. They must be getting anxious waiting.
General.
My lord.
Go out and post notices now. I want people to know. Whoever cures my son's illness will be greatly rewarded.
Yes.
If it weren't for you, who knows how long it would have taken to find Mars?
You're right. It must be fate.
I'm sorry, but I need you to wait outside. I'm going to put a spell on him and search for the source of his illness. I'll need full silence.
70,000 years. And now he's returning.
Now we speak matters agriculture, where tea traders are calling for a review of the tea regulations to reintroduce direct sale of tea. The traders say since the coming into force of the new tea regulations, more than 6 million kilos of tea is unsold.
Speaking at the Fair Trade Africa roundtable held at a Mombasa hotel, tea stakeholders said the new tea regulations has curtailed their ability to sell their produce directly to buyers. This, they said, is hurting the tea subsector since all tea is supposed to be sold through the auction.
The farmers have felt the impact. For the first time, we have found more than 6 million kgs of tea not sold, close enough for the foreign year. And therefore that is tea that is losing freshness. That is tea that will not fetch good money in the market, and therefore that is creating poverty in the country.
We are really pressing, and asking the government, even the county government, to help us, and see to it that we have more now the direct sales than having all the sales during the auction.
They are calling for a review of the new tea regulations to save the situation, which they say is getting out of hand.
The buyers that are not able to access market for the last maybe 1 year, we've talked about 70%. And there are factories that were selling quite a huge amount. And in 2020 and 2021, they sold zero because they could actually not access.
Those buyers who couldn't get our teas within 5 days of production, now they have to wait like 1 month or so because they can only get those teas through the auction. So that is one area, that is one thing which has come out clearly, that there has to be some kind of rethinking of the same.
This has prompted traders to explore selling tea to buyers in Africa.
The traditional market for fair trade products, especially tea, is okay, and we are also looking at such opportunities. But much more important, we're also saying, what about within our own continent? So yes, beyond Pakistan is one country, but we're also looking within the continent.
For Prime Edition from Mombasa County, I am Ann Mburu.
Kenyan farmers are being sensitized on GMO crops so that they are able to make informed decisions on the genetically modified crops. Participatory Ecological Land Use Management is advising farmers to practice plant zoning in favor of enhancing food security. The organization is urging county governments to deploy agricultural extension officers to sensitize farmers on GMO adoption.
The government's approval of GMOs is a move that could trigger a major shift towards evidence-based solutions to agricultural production. Currently, organizations are sensitizing the country's farmers to realize the full benefits of the technology that is expected to boost agricultural production. Participatory Ecological Land Use Management, which advocates for organic farming, is sensitizing farmers on the difference between conventional farming and GMOs to help them make informed decisions.
Here with farmers and some of our member organization staff to sensitize farmers on issues of GM is because we feel that there is no enough research that has been done on GM food to ascertain that it's safe for human consumption.
The organization says the introduction of GMO seeds in the country should be done progressively to avoid phasing out indigenous seeds.
We are urging extreme caution, especially when it comes to giving GMO seeds to farmers who will plant these GMO seeds discriminately at the cost or at the risk of losing our own indigenous seed.
The government can do zoning of cropping. Instead of growing maize where maize cannot grow, something that can grow in that particular area can be emphasized, and the farmers from that area can benefit from such a crop.
The organization is appealing to the county government to employ more agricultural extension officers to sensitize farmers on the best farming practices. Reporting for Prime Edition, I am Teresa Mutai.
Now, Kenya has come of age in the digital space, a development that has seen micro, small and medium enterprises embrace e-commerce. In turn, courier and delivery services have been thriving as consumers remotely buy goods and have the same delivered at their doorstep. In this week's edition of Young and Industrious, our reporter Richard Munga caught up with Robert Mwaluga, the founder and director of Pickup Mtaani, which is an errand-running business.
Meet 32-year-old Robert Mwaluga, a community development graduate from Kenyatta University. Having failed to secure employment after his studies, he resorted to becoming a motorbike rider. It was during that brief spell that he managed to come up with Pickup Mtaani concept. It is a delivery service intended for vendors relying on social media, capitalizing on the ever-increasing popularity and diversification of various online platforms.
How we are coming in is that as much as there is this platform whereby a seller can be able or can openly sell, not only in Nairobi but to Mombasa, to Eldoret, they actually need to get the product from themselves to the customer. Even we have an internal saying right now saying that in every transaction in e-commerce is a transaction in logistics, because that product has to move from the seller to the customer. We are looking at the nature of sellers on Instagram. They are small sellers. They cannot be able to afford to get a motorbike, get an employee. So by us giving that extension service to them and creating value for them was an opportunity we could not let go, and we decided to just jump on board.
Pickup Mtaani currently offers 3 services, namely rent-a-shop service, door-to-door services and Mtaani agents.
Ukianza kuangalia niko na pande mbili. Ya pande hii ya kushoto ni kuwa kuna our gentleman here ambao wana serve customers who are sending parcels. So customer ambaye anataka kutuma mzigo, for example hapa kuna hii ambayo inaonyesha inaenda Nakuru, anakuja yeye anamsaidia kwa kumprintia label kukumwekea kwa mzigo, cause pia tumejaribu kufanya customer si lazima uandike mzigo sana. Pia hiyo inasaidia kufanya nini? Kupunguza muda ya yeye kukaa kwa package kuandika na pia kutumia hata karatasi zake. So ideally akija hapa ana print your label yake, kama kuna ya kwenda within Nairobi pia tuna print label au wanaipanga wanaweka kwa hapa. Ni kind of a short term ya wao kusort, ndio akiniletea pale wananiletea sasa kwa warehouse, ndio mimi sasa niziallocate kwa riders. Agents actually gets the bulk of I would say 60% of our deliveries tunafanya ni za kwenda kwa agents, but then again venye nikana kwambia with doorstep you are always limited with the resources you have. Na resources here I mean the riders. So ideally currently tuko na 10 riders ambao wanapower delivery zetu, but then for me to be able to serve more doorsteps means I need to get more bikes, more people.
Mwaluga believes that for the company to maintain its status in the growing sector, partnering with various transport providers will help ease the process of delivering countrywide.
Currently building a technology whereby we can not only plug ourselves but also other courier platforms like 2NK, Easy Coach and the ones that customers are used to, and to be able now to take advantage also of the network of agents that we have, because this is the first time that 2NK can be able to reach out to their customers that are in their kama mtaani, kama tuseme Komarok, without them actually setting up shop there.
Although balancing the 3 services comes with various challenges, Mwaluga is confident that as an entrepreneur, his main job is solving problems that come with running a business.
We've been learning on the job, trying to, we are getting a problem and then you need to fix it at that particular time. Sometimes we've been able to, our temperament has gotten the best of us, but also we are looking at it as a way of, we're giving ourselves that hope that it is a learning curve for us, because ideally we are not meant to remain the way we are. So ours, we are looking at it as a learning experience.
As he continues to build a business, currently employing close to 20 people, Mwaluga is adamant that Pickup Mtaani has an edge of established local and international courier services. For Young and Industrious, I'm Munga Maina.
Indeed, necessity is a mother of invention, and when it comes to matters of entrepreneurship, ideas are bankable, especially if they are feeling blank or a missing link to the service or a product, so to speak. Now, the usage of a 5G spectrum in the country continues to be subdued owing to the few services that use the 5G network. Communication Authority of Kenya Director General Ezra Chiloba, however, says the upcoming launch of the 5G roadmap will see operators fully utilize their 5G commercial rollouts while making it affordable for users.
Data from Safaricom indicates that currently, out of about 27 million smartphones on their network, about 200,000 are 5G compatible because of the high costs of such devices. This is a clear indication that it is likely to take longer for most Kenyans to start enjoying 5G services.
Plans are already underway to provide 5G data packages for mobile internet, which will be ready by December. But the home ones will be ready immediately. As you know, the reason why we have very low penetration of 5G handsets is because of cost, and we see that cost coming down quite significantly.
Speakers at Safaricom's official commercial rollout of 5G Wi-Fi services said there was a need to partner with manufacturers to reduce the cost of 5G-enabled devices.
The challenge from an enterprise perspective is not just about us who are here. Perhaps, Peter, you'll have to have another event where you bring in players from other sectors, the manufacturing sector. We were discussing this morning, the shipping, the port operations, the hospital players, It is basically a new customer base in terms of how we can deploy and utilize the 5G.
We're also working with different partners and also with our own Lipa Mdogo Mdogo model to start financing the smartphones, and we'll see smartphone prices start coming down the more this technology evolves. So we expect in the coming months we'll see the prices come lower, and we continue enabling customers achieve this.
Active 5G sites are from the current 35 in Nairobi, Kisumu, Kisii, Kakamega and Mombasa to 200 sites across the country by March next year.
Broadband will continue to enable connections that will create more opportunities that will help transform the everyday lives of Kenyans, particularly in a modern economy where new knowledge plays a central role in wealth creation, social welfare, and international competitiveness.
5G ushers in an era of new possibilities, as you'll have heard. The promise of connectivity with low latency and high reliability will enable extraordinary experience for every industry, for every business, and for the society.
The 5G rollout will mean that you as a user will have to get a phone update from your respective manufacturer, a departure from the previous 4G rollout where you are required to walk into a Safaricom outlet and get a 4G enabled SIM card. Alan Oko, Prime Edition.
Like I said, Nick, I don't know what you're talking about.
Can we go home ready?
One of you has to quit.
I quit.
Your sense of entitlement will cost you in life.
It is your family's empire. If you don't work there, who will?
But why can't I just do what I love doing?
Don't let his suit and tie fool you. He has a boss too.
Kwa nini baithu ukae kwa hadi mwisho wa mwezi?
Urenda atia.
Jitegemee bana. Okay.
I'm the boss around here, okay?
I'm sorry, sir. I was just trying to
understand your position.
And what do you think these kids are thinking?
You're grown-ups.
The referee said it's a penalty. He said it was a handball, and he's given a penalty. It did touch his hand. It's absolutely spot on. Asmoa Gyan has the chance for the penalty spot to sink Serbia. Jen steps up. Stojkovic goes the wrong way. And Ghana are going the right way. The deadlock finally broken with 6 minutes to play. And Ghana have the lead. Some kind of freedom. And that is that. And Milan Rajovac, against his home nation, will not celebrate the victory. But those in his team will. Ghana 1, Serbia 0.
Welcome back. Thank you for keeping it. KBC Prime Edition. Let's now talk Matter Sports. My name is Karen Kibet. Now, the Premier Academy are the winners of the 22 Listle Show Inter-School Junior Golf Tournament that was held at the Par 72 Royal Nairobi Golf Club. This was a second consecutive win, having claimed the trophy last year.
The team of Lee Kimanthi, who carded 79, Junaid Maji with 80, Haishan Samani with 84, and Mitanj Thaka with a round of 91, won the overall title at the 2022 Lyle Shaw Interschools Junior Golf Tournament, played at the Royal Nairobi Golf Club with a team gross of 249. It was a second consecutive win for the Premier, having won the trophy last year in a team of the Kimanthi, Samani and Maji were in. The runner-up in the main event were Roslyn Academy, who played a team score of 250 gross. Coming joint third were the Oshul Academy Junior High and Crawford International School. The subsidiary competition was won by the Braeside School with a team net score of 159. Channel Wangari played the best gross score of 79 in the individual category. Junior Golf Foundation President Regina Gachora promised that more inter-school tournaments will be organized.
We're very happy today because last year we only had 6 teams, which means we have grown by over 300%. We're happy to see children playing and growing in the game, and these are the future of Kenya golfers, and we believe that in the next couple of years, one of these children will be the next Kenya Open champion.
The Lyle Shaw Memorial Inter-School Tournament is held annually in memory of George Lyne Gordon Shaw, who was the Kenya Golf Union chairman in the year 1953. The venue of the event is traditional Royal Nairobi Golf Club and is held on the last Wednesday of October. For Prime Edition Sports, I'm Daniel Mwendwa.
Thank you, Dan, for that report. Spain, who are 7th in the FIFA rankings, will enter this year's World Cup, targeting to clinch the title they last won in 2010. And coach Luis Enrique believes that inclusion of youngsters will boost his squad. However, some of the key names in the national team won't take part in this year's global showpiece due to injuries. The World Cup will be exclusively televised live on KBC Channel 1 and on our radios beginning on the 20th of November through to 18th of December 2022. World Cup Eco KBC.
Spanish coach Luis Enrique will